Our favorite Son of Anarchy goes to the Amazon with the vampire from Twilight. The Lost City of Z, directed by James Gray. This is based on the true story of the voyages of Percy Fawcett trying to find a lost city in the Amazon jungle that he calls Zen, or Z for short. And Percy Fawcett is played by Charlie Hunnam from the Sons of Anarchy and from Pacific Rim. He goes on this voyage with Henry Costin, played by Robert Pattinson from Twilight, who is a much better actor in these small independent films than he is in the big franchise films. And on one voyage into the Amazon, in the uncharted areas, they find remains of what could be a lost city that predates British civilization, and Percy believes that this lost city could prove that the natives in the Amazon are as advanced as the people of Britain are. But his fellow Britons warn him not to elevate these natives, and they continue to see the natives as beneath them. So they don't like the fact that Percy sees these natives as equals. Percy becomes obsessed with trying to find this lost city, to the point that he is putting this lost city ahead of his own family. His wife Nina is played by Sienna Miller, and then he has some children in the movie. He has an oldest son, then later on he gets another son and then a daughter. But he continues to go to the lost city despite the fact that his family needs him. And one of his sons is played by our latest Spider-Man, Tom Holland, which is pretty cool. I didn't realize that Tom Holland was going to be in this movie. And one of the financiers of his expeditions to the Amazon is played by the man that played Palpatine from Star Wars, Ian McDiarmid. I think that's how to say his last name, I'm not sure. Now, I was interested in this movie because the trailers did fascinate me, and the idea of going into the Amazon. And if you're expecting for this movie to be about zombies because it is called The Lost City of Z, it's not about zombies, so you're going to be disappointed. Mostly what you get in this movie is natives and some piranhas you do get to see in this movie as well, for the dangers that Henry Costin and Percy Fawcett do encounter when they go into the Amazon. Now, the cinematography in this movie is awesome, and the acting in this movie is really, really good. Charlie Hunnam is very good in this movie as Percy Fawcett. He is much better than he was in Pacific Rim. I thought he did a pretty good job, but in this movie his acting is much better. And Robert Pattinson is great in this movie. I really like his acting in these smaller films versus the films in Twilight. I saw all the Twilight movies and they were awful. And I'm glad when he does these small films he's much better with his acting than he is in the Twilight films. I think it's mostly the direction that he gets when it comes to the Twilight movies. I remember seeing Robert Pattinson do another little film called The Rover, where he did a very good performance. So he does do much better in these independent films than he does in the bigger films. And then you have Sienna Miller, who I thought was great in the movie, and I did like the chemistry between Charlie Hunnam and Sienna Miller, even though they don't get many scenes together. Mostly Sienna Miller is playing the wife that waits for Charlie Hunnam to come back, Every so often he makes 3 voyages into the Amazon, and it's back and forth, back and forth. And that is one of the main flaws of this movie. The back and forth gets very tedious. Then there's a point where you get to see him serve in World War I, which lengthens the movie even more. Stuff like this makes the movie drag a bit, and I was wondering, when are we going to get to see this lost city? And it's really not until the very end that you do really get to see it. And I was even wondering, to the point, does this lost city even exist? Because that's one of the things that's happening when he continues to go back and forth, is everybody around him is questioning whether or not this lost city even exists. And they all think that he's crazy. They are telling him to just give it up and put more focus to his family, but he's so obsessed that he doesn't care what could happen to him. All he cares about is trying to find this lost city. So overall, I did like this movie, and it was very interesting. So I'm going to give this movie a B. It is worth checking out. And that's all I got to say for The Lost City of Z.